are together again on the radio with this story from WorldNetDaily.com. The Selective Service System has proposed revamping the draft. Boys, you really got to pay attention to this, because as much as we like talking about beer and broads on this show, you got to be getting a lot less beer and broads if you're doing basic training. You know what I'm talking about? Believe me. I know you boys don't like to read the paper or pay attention to any of this stuff. That's fine. I'll handle it for you. Your father is always checking out the news, reading websites, looking stuff up, and I'll save you the trouble, okay? But this, I have determined, is important for you to know. The Selective Service System has proposed revamping the draft to include the registration of women, expanding the age limits, and requiring that young Americans keep the government informed about those critical skills most valuable to the military. Now, for example, imagine you've spent all your time and money preparing to become a medical doctor. Right now, the government only has your name and address. You would have to then update your file and say, oh, by the way, in case you need doctors, I became one. So they can put you right to the front lines, where you need it most. Story continues. Says the proposal presented to the Pentagon before the invasion of Iraq by the agency's acting director, Louis Brodsky, would extend the age of draft registration to, hold on to your hats, 34 years old. 34. Up from 25. This was revealed by the Seattle Post-Intelligencer. Are they still in business? Just barely? Yeah, the PI obtained this plan under the Freedom of Information Act. Now, there was a February 11, 2003 proposal. February 11, 2003. So this has been out there for 15 months. Was anybody paying attention? Well, apparently they tried to keep this from you and me and all of us. Presented to senior Pentagon officials. This was in the Sunday PI. And it said, in line with today's needs, the Selective Service System structure, programs, and activities should be re-engineered toward maintaining a national inventory of American men and, for the first time, women, ages 18 through 34, with an added focus on identifying individuals with critical skills. According to the report, Brodsky and Richard Flavahan, the agency's Director of Public and Congressional Affairs, reviewed the 6-page proposal with Pentagon officials, including Charles A. Bell, Principal Deputy Undersecretary for Personnel and Readiness, and William Carr, Deputy Undersecretary for Military Personnel Policy. The agency officials admitted they would have to, quote, market the concept of a female draft to Congress before it could be instituted. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld and Air Force General Richard Myers, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, have said they oppose a revival of the military draft, last used in 1973, as the American commitment in Vietnam waned, beginning the era of the all-volunteer force. Mandatory registration for the draft was suspended in 1975, but resumed in 1980 by President Carter after the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. Right now, there's about 13.5 million men, many of them listening to us right now, by the way, ages 18 to 25, who are registered with the Selective Service. At present, the Selective Service is authorized to register only young men. They are not required to inform the government about any professional skills. The agency has in place a special registration system to draft health care personnel in more than 60 specialties into the military, if necessary, in a crisis. So while you're busy enjoying your life, the government's been figuring out ways they can conscript you and get you to do things essentially for nothing that you could be paid well for out here in the real world. This has been going on without your knowledge or consent My guess is many of you would not consent to this if it became the law. Now, how do I feel about the draft? I'm opposed, and I've said I'm opposed to a military draft, period. I believe that the purpose of a military draft is to keep the cost of the military low. We know right now that many of the people in the military, Pat Tillman aside, many, if not most of the people in the military join the military because they need a job, because they get benefits like education, GI loans, what have you. They join because of the health benefits. You can get married, raise kids, whatever, and you have a secure job where you won't get laid off, fired, or outsourced. I really believe that a lot of the people who join up don't bother to think ahead to the fact they might get killed. No free lunch, boys. All right. So I believe that we need people to voluntarily sign up to join the military. So we have the best trained people, the people who are committed to being there, people who can honestly say, nobody made me be here. I volunteered for this gig. You know why more people are not in the military? Because the pay is crap. Yes, there's also the risk you'll get killed. But the pay is crap. And many of the compensations that you get for being in the military come down the line. Your salary is low, but you get lots and lots of benefits that go on your whole life right up through retirement. I believe that instituting a draft is a way of keeping everything really cheap for the government. You won't take the job at this price, so they'll make you take it. That's the bottom line. And now, up to 34 years of age, they want to draft you. That's what they want to do. The law hasn't been passed. It is not a reality yet, but that's what the officials, the Selective Service, want to do. But, of course, this idea of having to market the idea, as they say, the concept of a female draft, I don't see why you should have to market that. Again, let me repeat, I'm opposed to anybody being drafted. But women have told us for decades now they are equal. Equal. They want to be treated equally. And if that's what you want, ladies, I encourage it. As the world's original feminist, I say that the time for equality has come, and I think we will be well advised to institute that if we institute a draft. I believe that we should draft women equally alongside men. That women should have the same risk and responsibility quotient. That they should not be able to escape a draft due to pregnancy, or having a case of the vapors, or whatever excuses people love to give women for getting out of things. I believe that women should be held equally responsible for defending our country in any way necessary. So while I'm opposed to a draft, I'm even more opposed to drafting men only. I am opposed to the Selective Service registration system. You boys all know what that is. The day you turned 18, you were supposed to tromp on down to the post office and fill out that registration card and send it in. And, of course, you remember the public service announcements we in the radio business shoved down your throat for years. There's no draft, and there probably never will be, right? Which was the biggest lie we ever told. They don't collect that information for no reason. They collect it so they can eventually use it. Just like when you go in a Radio Shack and you order a pair of AA batteries and they ask for your name and address, that's not for their health. They plan to blitz you over the years with junk mail and coupons and what have you. Same thing with the Selective Service. Nobody gathers names and addresses just because it's fun to have a database. It's fun to see how many names you can collect. No. But that is sexist as it is. How can that be constitutional, that you only require men to do something and not women? It's outrageous. So I believe if they're going to have a draft, I believe that women should be drafted equally and should be forced to serve the same way men do and should be forced to take the same risks men do. It's only fair, right?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
Even just having money and just having class are like two different things, because you could be rich all you want and be a total jerk.
I'd rather be a jerk with money than to be a big fat poor guy.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Greg on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
All right, Greg.
Well, I just wanted to say I do agree with you. I listen to your show a lot, and, you know, I don't always agree with what you have to say, but I do respect you a lot. But the thing is, I'll say this much on this one point. I'm totally against the draft. I'm totally against this war. I'm actually hoping that I get drafted, because I will go to Leavenworth with a smile on my face and give Bush the finger.
Really?
Yeah, I hate that man that much. He's a scumbag. He's lied to this country so much on so many levels, it's not even funny. But anyway, the thing about having women in combat, I mean, they're just too much of a distraction. Name one guy in any platoon who would want to serve with a woman who's been drafted, who doesn't want to be there, who's going to be bitching and complaining about the heat or God knows what else. I mean, look at Jessica Lynch. I mean, nothing against her, but, you know, she got caught in a combat situation, and for all we know, she just laid down her guns and just, you know.
Well, why do you assume that?
I don't assume it. I'm just saying.
For all you know, anybody who's labeled a hero could have laid down their guns. Why would you assume that about Jessica Lynch?
I'm not assuming it.
Why would you even speculate that? I would assume that anybody who's over there is doing their best, and they're giving everything. I don't assume that people lay down their guns.
Well, okay. Maybe that was an extreme example. But the thing of it is, women just aren't suited for it. They're too much of a distraction.
Well, first of all, everybody who's drafted is not going to be in combat.
Mm-hmm.
But why should men be in dangerous places doing paperwork, or running offices, or cooking, or being medics?
Look, if women want to volunteer to...
No. Men don't have the right to just volunteer under a draft. Why should women have the right to opt out?
They shouldn't. I mean...
That's my point. So if you have a draft, you have to draft women.
No, I agree with you. But I don't think that... I really just don't think that they should be in combat because they're really not suited for it.
Well, you do agree they should be drafted?
Well, yeah, all things being equal, of course. But there's other things that they could do besides serve in combat.
Well, actually, I think if they can pass the physical tests and what have you, I think they should be in combat.
Well, like I said, if that's what they want to do...
No, not if that's what they want to do. The draft is not you doing whatever you want to do. Well, the draft is you doing what you're told.
Wait, hold on. But think of it this way. We have female cops out there, women who can do the job, who want to do the job. But I'm sure that if we drafted police and had women in those types of situations, they wouldn't want to be there.
And why would you assume that men who don't want to be there would be any better on the battlefield?
I'm not assuming that they don't.
All right. So the bottom line is the people who are there, the people who are drafted, lots of them don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So men or women, doesn't matter. Therefore, men and women should be drafted equally.
Okay, Tom, you win.
I know. 1-800-5800-TOM. Jennifer on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Jennifer.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. My husband and I practiced the 3-date rule, but he got me on the 4th. We just got married on Saturday. I hope he's listening. I totally agree with you. Let me cook, let me clean, let me shuffle papers. I can type, I can answer a phone. You don't have to give me a gun. There are a lot of men out there who don't shoot as well either, but why should they have to go? Basically, my country is telling me because I don't have a penis, I'm not as valuable to a mission like this as a man is, simply because I don't have a penis, and I don't think that's right.
I'll tell you what, I'd rather see Rosie O'Donnell than the Fab Five over there.
My husband's in the Air Force. We're getting ready to go overseas to England right now, and we just had a daughter, and I hope that she finds it within herself to join the military herself.
You want your daughter... Wait, I've never heard anybody say this, not in the recent history. You're telling me you want your daughter to sign up for the military?
I'm hoping that my daughter would find some way to serve her country. Of all the things I've done, the one thing I regret is that I didn't at least serve 4 years for my country. Whether I make it a career like my husband did or not, the one thing I regret, I'm 31, I'm a teacher, but the one thing I regret is that I did not serve at least 4 years.
You can always go back.
Well, I'm 31, I got a bad knee, they won't take me now, but I tried. I thought about being an attorney and joining the JAG, but I unfortunately have a bad knee. I wasn't accepted. But this whole thing about this whole assumption that if you join or that if you are drafted that you go into combat is so absurd. Not every man that is drafted goes to combat. There are male cooks and there are male receptionists and male secretaries. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean they're going to give you a gun and send you out to the front line. There are other things that you could do to support a mission besides a combat role. And if women, they really need to just start bitching. If you want to be equal...
Well, you know what? Women had it made, and then in the 70s, we have to be equal. We have to be treated equally.
We want to eat it, too.
I'm all over it.
We want to be equal, but we don't want to have to. We don't want to have to go out and sacrifice our lives.
No. What women want is to get equal pay for unequal work. They want to get paid the same as the people who show up at the office every day for 8, 9, 10 hours. But then they want the right to not come in or take 6 months off and get fully paid, or work part-time, flex time, or work at home. Come in if they feel like it. Take a mental health day once in a while. You've got the vapors. You're on your period. Whatever. That's what women want.
I've never taken time off for my period.
I understand that, but in general, women want all of the benefits that men get without the responsibilities men hold.
They want their cake and want to eat it too. We want to profess equal rights and we want all of this stuff, but we don't want to pay the same prices that men do.
I stand with the feminists. I believe in full equality, and that means when the draft begins, draft everybody.
Yep. If you're 18, whether you're male or female, you go, your name gets put into the bowl just like everybody else. My mother has 3 daughters, and she doesn't think it's fair that just because she has daughters, she is, not going to have to give the same sacrifice as a mother who has 3 sons. I mean, even my mother thinks it's unfair for a mother of 3 sons to have to, possibly give her 3 sons to combat when she has 3 daughters. I mean, it's not equal. It's not right. If I had to, I would put my name in the bowl. If I had to go, I would have to go. I mean, that's just the price that you pay. But what bothers me about it is that I personally see it as my country values me less because I'm missing certain body parts.
Well, you're a delicate little flower that needs to be protected, dear. At least that's the way some people see it. Thank you very much for the call.
The Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles, 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio. We find out today that, actually it came out Sunday in the Seattle paper, that Selective Service wants to increase draft registration up from 25 to 34 years old. That they've been kind of holding back from you. Didn't know about that, huh? They also want to draft women, 18 to 34. That's what they want to do. And I'm opposed to the draft. I think the all-volunteer military is the way to go. If you don't have enough volunteers, raise the salaries and get more professionally trained people who want to make careers out of it. Don't enslave people. Like, if the pay isn't attracting enough attention, just take people out of their lives who don't want to be there, okay? But having said that, if you're going to have a draft, I am America's original feminist. Women want to be equal, and I say this is the time to show women how equal we want them to be. I say if we're going to have a draft, we draft men and women equally to show that women are equal. Because I am a feminist. I believe in total equality of the sexes. And if it takes giving women the opportunity to serve their countries involuntarily, being taken away from their child support and their alimony, take them away from their careers of studying for an MRS degree at the university, finding Mr. Right, and then dropping out of sight for a while, working flex time or part-time or whatever, living their dreams of having appliances and upscale Japanese cars, then goddammit, that's what we need to do. Take them right out of the mainstream and put them over in countries they can't even pronounce. Because, God forbid, a woman ever read a newspaper. Ladies, say it with me. Afghanistan. Really, repeat, Afghanistan. That's right. I know you haven't heard of these countries. Talk to your boyfriend or husband. I'm sure he's heard of them. Because he's been at risk going to these places for some time. Ladies, it's time now to show how equal you really are. And by the way, men and women get paid equally in the military. No 70 cents on the dollar. A dollar is a dollar. And you get paid the same money, ladies, for risking your own death as men get. It's the ultimate equalizer. Please don't let this opportunity slip by to show women how equal they really are. Support an equalized draft where men and women equally have the opportunity to die on the battlefield and then not have their photographs shown on television. Let's make America a truly equal place. All right. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Jeff on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Oh, Tom!
Oh, Jeff.
Long time, first time. Hey, I don't support the draft either, but I think that whether we like it or not, women are going to get out of this. And they're going to get out of it by getting knocked up.
Well, first of all, I think women will get out of it because the Congress won't approve it. Look, why won't they? Let's take this logically. Why don't they want pictures of caskets? Why don't they want Ted Koppel reading a list of the people who died in battle on television? Why? It's because they're afraid people will turn against the war if you do that. And that's the reason why these same politicians probably won't let women be drafted, because there's an awful lot of people out there who would say, hey, this was okay when you were sending guys over there, but if you're sending chicks over there to die, I'm opposed. They don't want to have that happen. It's purely political. Sexism, inequality is all perfectly okay if it supports the effort to send young men to die.
Absolutely.
Bottom line.
Even if they said themselves that they were going to have to market this idea to the Congress.
Right.
Well, they had to market it.
Well, they have to market it because there's going to be an awful lot of people that say if we draft women, people will oppose the war.
Agreed.
But still, I mean, don't we have laws about equality? How many people have been called up on charges or hearings regarding sexism in the workplace, regarding inequality of the genders, unequal pay, and what have you? The government has been enforcing all kinds of laws over the years, trying to force equality of men and women. And yet, when it comes to the draft, the federal government has no problem with sexism or inequality. It's perfectly okay. I say if the government won't draft women, stop trying to make private employers pay women the same as men. Because if women are not willing to die for their country, they don't deserve to get paid the same.
Even if they did draft them, they'd find a way to get out of it, and you and I would end up paying for it. That's my point.
I think you're right about that.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Tina. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tina.
I just want to ask you, what makes you think men and women are equal?
Well, feminists have told us for years that men and women are equal, or that is our goal, is to make men and women equal. And what better way to make men and women equal than to give them the same risk of getting killed?
Yeah, but what better way to make men and women equal is to have the ability for men to have kids and go through everything we have to go through emotionally.
Well, again, it's not I who proposed this theory that men and women should be equal. It was Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, and various other feminists over the years who proposed that. And I consider myself a feminist, and I agree. Men and women should be absolutely equal.
That is so wrong. It's just, I don't know what drove them to do that to us, but men and women are not equal. And
you know, we constantly are bombarded with demands that women get paid equally and women get treated equally, women have equal opportunities. Okay, great, ladies. Here's your opportunity to go to Afghanistan and get killed. Just like any guy, and get paid the exact same. It's the ultimate equality.
if you're going to do the same job that I'm going to do, I'm going to fight to get exactly the same pay as you're going to do.
In the military, you don't even have to pay. You will get paid the exact same by law. But everybody gets the same pay.
Then
it's the law.
Be going through what I'm going to be going through every month in the military?
What? Come on, dear. Do you really, does having your period really debilitate you that much?
If men were to go through what I go through every month when I get my period...
Blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what, then? As long as... Dear, you know what? I'd be perfectly willing to accept women not being drafted. If we could also go back to women getting paid 50 cents on the dollar, if we could also go back to the days when men got promoted and women were not promoted because we generally assumed that men were the ones who needed to support a household, and therefore men deserved the promotion more than women. If you want to go back to those days, baby, I'm in. Really? Well, you know what? It's the feminists out there who have made it now necessary for women to prove their worth as equals.
Oh, wow.
I support the feminists.
I don't understand how I'm supposed to have a kid, get a career, and keep a household when all my man has to do is go to work, come home, and I'm going to have his dinner ready, his house clean, and his kids fed.
Nobody forced you to have a baby, dear.
Well, how am I supposed to have... What do you mean? Am I supposed to live it, like... without a family my whole entire life?
Well, if you choose... I don't have any children. If you choose to have children, then you go right ahead and do that. But then you'll have to live with the consequences of your actions.
I just think it's wrong. It should be the way it was way before those feminists even started.
Nope, too late now, dear. You can't put the horse back in the barn. You know what I'm saying? Can't put the genie back in the bottle.
So wrong. I just don't understand why you keep... stressing on the fact that men and women are equal when they're not.
Well, because, again, the women's groups over the years have convinced us that women deserve the same opportunities. And I agree.
Same opportunities, I agree. But
well, that includes the opportunity to get killed in Iraq. The men have the men aren't volunteering. Under a draft, men would be told, you're not volunteering, you're coming in. Why should only men be drafted? If it's equality, it's equality, baby.
Because a man is, like, muscular and more
doesn't matter. You know what? Everybody who gets drafted doesn't go into combat. You could be a nurse. You could do paperwork right near the battlefield. You could be cooking, cleaning. You could be working in the laundry. Or any of the number of other tasks they need done over there on the battlefield. You don't have to be carrying a gun, but you could be right over there risking your life with the rest, and I believe in equality.
That's so wrong.
Why is it wrong?
Because a man is built like a man. A girl, I'm like a little...
How much, what does it take to do laundry? Do you do laundry?
Yeah, of course.
You could be doing it in Afghanistan. What's the problem?
It's just wrong.
Oh, it's a man is more capable of doing laundry in Afghanistan than a woman?
No, it's the whole situation. A man is able to handle that situation.
Wait, really? You really believe that? So let's take some men that we know. How about the Fab Five? Do you think they could handle being in the battlefield, for example?
No, I don't think
so what are you saying? We'd eliminate gay men and it would only be straight men who'd be going? What about Rosie O'Donnell?
No,
granted, she doesn't like the fact that Kmart sells guns, but hey.
No,
She looks like she could handle a little hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, but how about emotionally?
You know what? There's a lot of men who can't handle it emotionally. You think war just comes naturally to guys?
Well, I mean, they're just built like they could naturally take that.
Dear, that is talk about stereotyping. That's a real stereotype.
Well, whatever it is, it's the way.
The men who can handle it have already joined up.
Yeah, the people who know.
How about the ones who haven't joined? There's a reason they haven't joined.
Exactly.
But once there's a draft, you don't get a choice to volunteer.
But do you have, like, sisters, maybe?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you imagine them in a war? Or, like, girls...
Well, I know my oldest sister is definitely a feminist and believes in equality. And I say put up or shut up.
Oh, wow. I don't understand this equality thing.
You don't understand it? Where have you been? Didn't you hear of women's liberation, bra burning, laws against sexual discrimination, gender discrimination? All the companies that are hauled in on federal lawsuits and called by federal agencies and told that everybody has to be promoted equally and paid equally and treated equally. It's been going on for decades. You never heard of any of this?
I have. It's just
you've probably even benefited from some of that.
Of course I have.
All right, now it's time to pay the piper. It's time to pay up. You've been treated equally, and now it's your opportunity equally to die.
But physically, we're not equal to...
Tough luck. Guess what? Go to Afghanistan and cook dinner for the boys. Go over there and clean their barracks. Go over there and wash toilets. You know what? You go over there and clean the latrine. You deserve an equal opportunity to be taken out of your life for 2 or 3 years and placed on the battlefield.
It's just so wrong.
Well, I don't think it's wrong at all. You know what? As my father used to say, I think a little military would be good for everybody.
Oh, whatever. All right, thanks, Tom.
All right, dear. See you later.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
One easy way to tell what you look like is to ask how much money your husband makes. If your husband makes $1 million a year, I want to see you naked. If your husband makes $35,000 a year, don't even bother showing it to me. I don't want to see. If you make twice the money your husband makes, you're hideous. Bottom line.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. Rachel, hello.
Hello, Tom. I'm calling to agree with you about the draft being wrong, and it should be an all-volunteer service. And I'm also calling because I am a woman. I am a veteran from the Armed Forces, from Desert Storm era, and it was all volunteer. It was the first thing I did out of high school. I'm since out of the service, and I do believe that women are equal in some respects. You don't have to be a frontline soldier. You can be supporting the troops, is what I did. I was always attached to infantry division, so you can serve in the military. It's okay. You don't have to carry a gun. But I disagree with women being on the front line with men, because I think that what goes on up there, you're probably just going to get raped and trashed on and pretty much buried by your own soldiers or your own troops. So that's where I don't agree with women serving right alongside with men.
Well, they do in Israel, as you know.
Yes.
And Israel seems to be doing okay and as far as defending itself, considering its size and the threat it faces. And women are completely equal to men, right up the line, including every category. Officers, the regular ground troops, they get promoted like men. They are in charge of troops like men. And they do fight in combat.
Yeah, and I experienced that in the Army as well. The only thing, my only reservation would be, is I would probably run like hell to the other side and rather get shot than endure what I know to be...
Well, why can Israel handle it?
I don't know.
Well, if they can handle it, we can handle it.
I'm sure if we had the right training and the right education about that, then it could be accomplished. But right now the attitude is...
No, we pretty much have a country where we've trained women that they can do whatever they want or opt out of anything they want, anytime.
Well, I don't agree with the opt-out because I was right up there with them.
But you volunteered.
Yes, I did. So
you could have opted out of the military altogether.
No, I did not.
Women are raised to believe that, they can go to school and maybe have a career, or maybe not, or start a career, and then when you meet Mr. Right, opt out of work, stay home for a while, work part-time, work in your little spare bedroom office there and telecommute or whatever.
Yeah.
Take a sabbatical. Women can opt out of life at any time, opt out of any responsibility at any time.
If they choose to.
But that's what opting out is all about.
Yeah.
It's true. You have the choice.
Yeah, you can make less money.
Men can't opt out.
I disagree there. I believe that men can opt out on a lot of
like what?
Levels. They too can telecommute. They too can stay home and raise children.
But you know what? They don't. Generally, they don't.
Generally, they don't, and that's true.
And the reason they don't is because they know what would happen if they went to their next employer and the employer said, "What did you do?" "Oh, I worked from home." They know what the likelihood is they get another good job with good pay.
Yeah. And that's true unless they ran a successful business where they could prove that they could take...
Women frequently don't even care what the impact will be. The average telecommuter, we just read this statistic on the air recently, makes 27% less than the person who shows up at the office.
Well, I do that, and I make equal to my coworkers in the office or out.
That's an average, of course, but generally speaking, it's an average of 27% less.
Yeah. But I do agree with you that the draft should be done away with. And I think that the government is hiding things by not reading names or showing pictures of people because, yes, there are women over there dying, whether they are cooks or cleaners or helpers or whatever capacity they had. Everybody's dying over there, actually.
You know, during the Vietnam War, you saw pictures of caskets all the time.
Yes.
There were 57,000 people,
Yes.
mostly men, some women, who died during the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And those caskets were shown on TV all the time.
The actual frontline combat was on TV 24/7.
That's right.
Which they're trying to hide, but it's pretty gross over there right now.
That's right.
Fatalities are stacking up.
Because they're afraid that we won't support the war. And that's one reason I think that despite the fact that I support the idea of women being in the military and being drafted equally to men, that's why I think it won't happen, because they'll be afraid that too many people will oppose the war. Our email address is my name, Tom@blowmeuptom.com.
The Tom Leykis Show.